Well, did Devin Booker get snubbed? I don't know. Do you think he did? Let's talk about it right now on Outside Shots. Welcome into another episode of Outside Shots. I am your host, Saul Bookman. We are still waiting for Edward to join us, hopefully momentarily. But right now you can see the message. See, I just cropped the screen just for this occasion. I wanted to show off my FJ Crowder shirt that he signed. Actually, I thought that was pretty cool. But to no avail. We're still waiting for EJ to show up. So until then, thank you all for joining us. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the Outside Shots podcast on whatever stream that you like to listen to podcasts on, because we surely do appreciate it. We've got a lot to get into right now. EJ's wrapping up on another call because he's just popular like that. So once he comes in, we'll get the ball rolling. But, obviously right now, let's go ahead and get it started in the chat. I know there's a lot of people already in there talking absolute trash this early in the morning. It's Friday morning. I thought we were going to get off to a nice, easy start. But it's hot already. People are either really, really upset or not upset at all about Devin Booker not making the All-Star game. And I think for me, if you're really in tune with the NBA, this should not surprise you at all. It shouldn't. Anthony Edwards, James Harden, should he have gotten in over them? I mean, statistically speaking, he's right there with Ant, and I think he's got better statistics than he does. Definitely has better statistics than James Harden, but James Harden has the name, and he's been there a million times. So when fans vote, they're going to vote for James Harden. You hope that the coaching voting was going to help out Devin Booker, but that didn't help. And Devin Booker is always going to suffer when it comes to the fan vote. And then on top of that, the media vote obviously hurt him even more because no media members voted for him, which is, that's really shocking to see that zero voted for him. It is what it is right now, and you got to just live with that if you're a Phoenix Suns fan. Devin Booker is great statistically. If you watch Devin Booker on a night-to-night basis, you can appreciate what he brings to the table. He has not had the best of years this year, though. You can't deny that. He hasn't had the best of seasons. He's been kind of up and down. There's been things that apparently EJ's ready in the background. And so he had a slow start to the season. The first 10 games of the season were pretty rough for him. He shot, I think he was averaging like 23 points a game. It's always going to be a struggle. And now your mother's favorite brother is here, Eddie Johnson. Appreciate you for taking some time out of your busy schedule to join us, Mr. Hollywood, out there in the Bay Area, about to cover tonight's Warriors-Suns matchup. Just talking about Devin Booker and whether or not you believe he was snubbed. Do you feel like he was snubbed, DJ? My bad. Pookie, do you think EJ was snubbed? Booker was snubbed. I'm eating cheese.
No.
Okay.
You know what I think about Devin. I love that kid. And I think I'm the right person to ask this question.
Because you were snubbed.
Because I was snubbed numerous times. And I never made an all-star team. And the one thing about my career that I personally still have a problem with, because it was a couple of years in my career where I felt that I was guaranteed all-star. And I didn't get picked for various reasons. And so it happens to everybody Trey Young leading the league in assists. He didn't get picked. Tyrese Maxey's having an unbelievable statistical year. He didn't get picked. Sabonis leading rebounder in the league, one of the best rebounders in the league. He didn't get picked. Kyrie Irving, who's pretty much carried the Dallas Mavericks with Luka being out, he didn't get picked. Norman Powell, who I thought should have made the All-Star team over his teammate James Harden, having one of the best years as an older player thrust into the starting lineup, he didn't get picked. And Devin didn't get picked. So you're going to have snubs every year. And what I would say with all of those guys I just named is winning matters. And at the end, and probably more so for coaches. And so when the coaches are picking the reserves, a lot of that comes into play. Now, some guys that's not winning at a high level, they got in. Like, and so you can question that. But Cleveland got 3, which they should have. And you got, Houston could have arguably had 2. So it's Devin knows, man. He knows that the slow start probably got him. The team's record. After the Suns, I think they were projected before the season to probably be one of the top teams in the West, and right now we're not. It's just those things. Like, it's those things to guarantee that this doesn't happen, because we all know that Devin is one of the best players in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
We all know, arguably, he's the best 2 guard in the NBA. So we know that. But I think what Devin has to do is look and say, okay, why did this even happen? Slow start. Statistically, I wasn't Devin at the first part of the season. It's those things.
I'll say this, EJ. I have long thought this, and whether you like it or not doesn't matter, because it's bearing out to be the truth. Devin Booker's game is not suited for the casual fan. It isn't. Because Devin Booker is a very methodical player. He can drop 40. He can drop 50 any given night. Like, he's a bucket getter. Like, that's just what he is. However, he doesn't have those flashy, points of a game very often that are on Sports Center or on the highlight reels or all over social media. Like, he doesn't have that kind of game. Like, he's just a very, very, very elite basketball player. But if you don't watch him on a night-to-night basis, it doesn't translate to voting, especially when it comes to the fans. Players know. That's why he's always highly ranked in the player vote. But the media apparently doesn't even know that. Obviously, they're holding, the standard of the team's results and his poor performance in the first 10 games of the season against him. But I think that is a bit of a double standard, because if you look around the league, there's other players that have not played very well this year, but because of their name, they got in. And that's where I think a lot of people are frustrated, because they don't feel like there's any consistency to this, right? There's not. If it was always like, oh, high bucket getter, can't win a game, and then starts winning games. Well, he had Chris Paul, and so he would get knocked down a little bit. He started making the All-Star game, but like still got knocked down for it. Right. And then now KD comes along, and they're supposed to be this elite team, still gets points, still has good stats, still held against him for whatever reason, right? There's always like this double standard that constantly moves around. That's my only issue with this, is I feel like at this point, Devin Booker's such a great player that he should get the nod if he has a slightly down year, because he's that good. But
yeah,
I mean, you can't get mad at it, because that's just what the system is.
Yeah, I think we should wonder if, normally something's going to happen. Some players going to get injured. Knock on wood, I hope they don't, but somebody's going to get nicked up and can't play. And I kind of believe that's when the really feelings come in. So sometimes you hope you hope that chance would happen. You don't, like I said, you don't wish anyone gets hurt. But then I think the commissioner picks, a replacement player. So how does that play out? Like Şengün right now, he has the calf issue. I don't know what that's going to do with him, but probably Jalen Green would take his place, I would imagine. So because Houston deserves an all-star.
Yeah.
So, again, you get rewarded for winning. And Devin knows this. Why? Well, he lost his early part of his career in Phoenix, and people criticized, right? People said statistically that's what he has, all of that, and he can't win. Then the Suns started winning, and all of a sudden, what? The accolades came. All-star games came, all NBA, the commercials, his own shoe. All of that was because of winning. So, understand when you're not winning and living up to expectation, those negatives will come about. And so for me, yeah, I feel for him. Mike, we got the news while we were actually flying to Oakland, to San Francisco yesterday. And I'm sure that wasn't the news that he expected. But again, it's, hopefully that propels him and just makes him want to throw it back in the coaches' faces that didn't vote for him. That's just the way I look at it.
So Darth Voida, one of my homies, does a great job over there for his outlet. I think he posted something that said Devin Booker's post All-Star game statistics in the years in which he was snubbed. 2018-19, came back, averaging 31 and 7 assists. And when he was the 2 years where he was an injury replacement in back-to-back years, he came back averaging 27.2 points per game and 7 assists, and then 26 and 4. And then in 22-23, he averaged basically 30 points a game and 5.5 assists. So he does bounce back because, maybe he wears it and he feels disrespected. And listen, Devin Booker is definitely one of those types that likes to use these kind of things as motivation. Not that he has to, because he's an elite player. Yeah, he hasn't had the greatest of years by Devin Booker standards, or by the standards that have been placed upon him by either the NBA fan or even here locally, right? Like, he's had a lot of slip ups. You saw the game the other night where he just really struggled in that fourth quarter and didn't really do anything until the last 2 minutes, and then scored 8 points. But it was relatively useless at that point, and those are the things that will frustrate fans. But at the same time, you'll take the other games where, I think he's one of 3 players in the league that has had more 30-point games than anybody. Like, it's just, which one do you want? And, Kevin Durant, his teammate, obviously he's always going to be highly regarded. He's always going to get the fan vote. He's always going to be in that top echelon, and should be. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to twist this into saying KD shouldn't be an all-star by any stretch of the imagination. He absolutely should. But Devin Booker's game, again, I think because of his style of play, it just does not command the attention of the casual NBA fan outside of Arizona. It just doesn't. And whether you like that or not, I think that's why this continues to play out, because I think the fan vote hurts him the most. Now, the media vote hurt him this year probably more, but in the past, it's always been the fan vote. He'd always be below guys like Klay Thompson, who wasn't even barely playing at the time. There was 1 year where Austin Reeves got more votes than him. Like, come on, man.
That's why
I do believe that if Devin Booker was a Laker, he'd be like damn near a 10-time All-Star by now.
But Saul, the way I look at it is, for me as a player, I would be more impressed with the coaches picking me than fans. Because you just laid out why fans pick players. So, fans don't even look at what the player's doing. They just pick the player.
I know.
That doesn't impress me. It truly doesn't. You have a lot of people right now on social networking, and they got clicks like I don't know what, right? They got followers, and they don't know jack squat. So I'm not impressed with people. Now, those people obviously, they got a ton of followers, and so they put themselves in position to be, make them some money. I get it. But from a respect standpoint, to me, it's nothing more important than coaches picking you, because those are the ones you're playing against. And I think that's why that probably would hurt Devin more, mentally, than the fans not voting for him. I think Devin's brand is still good enough. His shoe does well. It's popular. Uh, he's a popular player. So I don't think that's a problem. I think it's more the respect from the coaches, right? So, like I said, when Trae Young woke up this morning, he's like, "Dang, what do I need to do?" Because Trae Young has changed his game. Like he knows he's not Steph anymore. So he's trying to play the game the right way. In Atlanta, despite, they got the injuries now, Jalen Johnson is out for the year, which is going to hurt them. But they were playing very good basketball for the first part of this period, right? Kyrie, what he has done, he's gone to Dallas and he's pretty much changed his personality, right? And he's not that really just combustible person that he was in Brooklyn, right? And so, it's that kind of stuff, man. That you would like more respect from the coaches than anything. And so I think that's what probably is more tough about it. But again, look, it comes down to you gotta win, man. And winning solves it all. Like when you're winning, you don't have that issue. Devin's an all-star. If the Suns were top 6, top 4, he's in. He's in. He's in over James Harden. He's in. You just think about. I would tell him, think about all the games this year that we've lost and should have won. Think about that.
Yeah.
You'd be in automatically. James Harden got in because if it wasn't him, it probably would have been Norman Powell. Because what? The Clippers played above their pay grade so far this year.
Yeah.
Like without Kawhi Leonard. They have. Got in. It's the way it is. It's not always for everybody. Okay? It's not. It's not always for everybody. Tyrese Maxey, he's having a tremendous offensive year. Didn't get in. He probably thought he was. LaMelo Ball probably thought he was. With the fan vote, the way it was for him, right? Barely missing it as a starter, and he couldn't even get in.
Yeah.
Because you're judged on wins and losses. Some guys aren't.
Yeah. I mean, that's just a fact. That's just been, and it's been a fact forever. Like that's just what it is. Again, but I think with Devin Booker, I think the frustration is that the goalpost always seems to move when it comes to just him.
Yeah.
But that's also because we're locked in on Devin Booker and not really locked in on other people. And that's just what it is. So there's also a lot of changes that have been spoken about, not only from players, but also the commissioner. But we'll get into that right after this. Folks, I don't know where you do your son's watch parties at. We got a fantastic one tonight out at Gila River. But if, on those occasions where we're not hosting one, Spinato's Pizzeria is one of the best places to go to if you're a Suns fan to watch these games. Spinato's is hosting official watch parties throughout the season where you can watch the game with the Phoenix Suns dancers and the Gorilla, so that's pretty dope. Stop by for your chance to win free Suns tickets, gift certificates, and more exciting prizes. And if you have a decent jump shot, like my man right here on the screen, you've got to enter Spinato's Pizza Competition. They have all play. If you've ever played horse before, they have a basketball court there. And Spinato's, well, they don't want to spell horse; they want to spell pizza. So you can actually get yourself there, win some free tickets to games, things of that nature. You can feel the energy, you can feel the crowd, eat some great food. So get all the info on the watch parties and pizza basketball contest at SpinatosPizzeria.com. Spinato's official pizza of the Phoenix Suns. Folks, listen, a lot of things are changing in the market. A lot of moves have happened, politically speaking. And, people are hoping that interest rates at some point are going to come down. And if they do, or if you're in the market to buy, this is a fantastic time to do it if you go to Carol Royce Realty and her team, because they are the best in the game. The Carol Royce real estate team is family owned and locally operated with 3 generations of family members serving the Valley of the Sun. Carol and her team have an unbelievable track record, having sold over 12,000 homes across the Valley. Carol knows the real deal Arizona real estate market, and you can get yourself really hooked up with her team because they are fantastic. And as always, if you're considering buying a home in 2025, the name to trust is Carol Royce, your home sold guarantee realty. Move up to one of our listings and we'll buy your home or for cash. Have questions? Call today or visit Carol online at carolroyceteam.com. That's carolroyceteam.com. All right, EJ. One of the things that was brought to the attention of Kevin Durant was the fact that he thinks the All-Star roster should be moved to 15. And I agree. I agree because the rosters right now are 15 in the NBA. So why wouldn't the All-Star game rosters be 15? That's 3 extra spots, and we're probably not talking about Devin Booker getting snubbed at this point. And I think that's a good thing. Obviously, if there was a 15-man rotation back in the day, you probably get into an All-Star game or two as well. So I don't. I kind of tend to agree with Kevin Durant and his thoughts on the All-Star game.
I agree. I said it the other day. I mean, the league moved from 12. It used to be only 12 players on the roster, and that's where they're at the number for having 12 players on the All-Star game. It should be 15. And for the main reason is it's more players in the NBA now. So because there's more players in the NBA, because of the extension of the rosters, like they can have 18 players, right? I believe. And so only 15 can dress. So because of that, I think it should be. I don't think it should be still stuck archaically at 12. So I'm kind of surprised that the league has not moved upward for that. It's not like it's going to cost them a ton of money
Mm-hmm.
to have 3 more players uh, in it. I think it would be tough for a coach to have to play uh 15. But then again, you look at it, 5-man rotation. You just have, 5 players group, hockey substitutions, and let them play. They don't want to play hard anyway. So what's the difference? So I agree with Kevin Durant. I think it should be. I think more players should be able to have a chance because there's more players in the league. And hopefully that's something that the league will change. Look, they're trying to change everything about the All-Star game. It's not even a game this time.
Yeah.
It's like a little competition. And it's really the fault of the players. They have to look in the mirror and know that they're the reason why the league has changed it. It is nothing else. You refuse to play during the All-Star game. You refuse to guard. You refuse to compete. So, okay, we're going to change it. And I don't know if this will work, but at least they're trying to make the weekend better because right now, the last number of years, All Star Weekend has not been good. I be quite honest, I work All Star Weekend. I go there with my radio show, interview players and things of that nature, and I'm working a ton during that weekend. And I've never stayed. I don't stay for the game. I don't think I've stayed for an All Star game probably once in the last 15 years.
Hmm.
I don't stay because I already know what it's going to look like. I don't need to see guys dunking. That doesn't thrill me. I wasn't a dunker, so why do I want to see that? Like I want
Yeah.
to see guys doing what I used to do: jumpers, moving, executing, competing. And you haven't been seeing it. So for me, I hope it works. I hope this system of how they're going to play work. I think it could because I think it kind of exposes you if you're not working hard.
Mm-hmm.
And they want to keep winning because it's a short-term game now. It's not a long-term game, right? So maybe it will. But again, these guys are so caught up in their brand and they're caught up in not wanting to get hurt and they're caught up in all this other stuff that I just think it's just become very difficult for them to overextend themselves in a competitive game. And so I'm hoping that it works out because I know the league is really distraught in how it's become, and you need to do something because this is supposed to be the glorifying moment for the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
Halfway part of the season, All-Star game, to all the top players descend on one city, all of those things. And over the last few years, I quite honestly say it's been rather boring.
Yeah.
And the 3-point contest has probably been the best thing going. So I hope it gets better.
I don't want it to be gimmicky, and I know they're trying to change things, and I applaud them for trying to. They're attempting to infuse the will of the player into the game, is what they're trying to do. And it's really hard because if the player is just not genuinely interested in winning or losing the All-Star game and they don't really care, they just want to go out there for the rep, then it's not going to matter. And I know these players afterwards, they're like, no, we care about the All-Star game. We care. But the play doesn't reflect that. And it hasn't for the last several years.
They care about the weekend. They care about the persona of making the All-Star game.
Exactly.
They care about everything about All-Star
except
other
the
than
game.
playing the game.
Except the game. And I don't know about you, but I know, like, even I would say all the way up until maybe the end of the Kobe Bryant era, that's where I felt like the shift started to happen, where, you know, it was more of like, you know, the first quarter was just basically a free for all, alley-oops and wide open dunks and stuff like it. It was like, I get more pleasure. And again, maybe this is the old school mentality of me, and you folks can chime in on this. I really appreciated watching like Magic get out on the fast break, and he's got, you know, he's got somebody to his right that he would never normally play with, right? Maybe he's got KJ over here, and then he's got, you know, he's got his old teammate in James Worthy on the left, and then maybe he could throw it down to you know, Hakeem or something like that. Those are the things that I looked forward to, because it's players playing with each other that have never really played before. In this era, today's era, you see more stars playing with other stars. So I feel like you kind of lost a little bit of that intrigue, that curiosity about what this player would look like playing with this player, because we've seen it a lot. You know, I don't have to wonder about what LeBron would look like playing next to D Wade, because I've seen it. I don't have to worry about Kevin Durant playing next to Devin Booker, because I've seen it. I don't have to worry about Kevin Durant playing next to Steph Curry, because I've seen it. Those types of things. And maybe because of that, everything is just kind of, you know, the All-Star game has lost a little bit of its gravitas, because guys don't view it that way anymore. You know, they play with their friends, they play with their star, you know, counterparts occasionally throughout their career, and maybe that's why it's taken a hit. And I don't know about the players themselves, why they don't feel like they should go out there and bust their ass for 4 or 5 minutes and then come out and let the other guys come in. Maybe the 15-man rotation would be dope. Maybe it's 4-minute rotations for 5 guys, and you just live with the results. Like, I don't know, but hopefully this iteration of the All-Star game will tweak it a bit.
Yeah, I mean, let's hope. Let's hope that, you know, it ramps itself up and they have success. The biggest battle for players in today's game, I wish I could have gone through it. A lot of players in the past would wish they had gone through it. The reason why the All-Star games in the past, 80s, early 90s, was very competitive, because pretty much most of the guys made the same amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it wasn't that much difference in salary. Like, the difference would be maybe 100,000, but it wasn't $1 million difference. Like, you know, I remember back in the day when, you know, I was viewed as one of the top small forwards, and I would compare myself, like, say, you know, my salary to Kiki Vanderways or somebody else's, right? Well, Kiki at that time, or, you know, making maybe 600, 700, 800, right? So the negotiation would be, okay, Eddie, can't give you what he makes, more than that, but you can get, you know, 50,000 less. You know, back then that was still devastating. Like, no, I want that, you know. So now it's like guys are making 30 million, 40 million, 50 million. Like, you know, it's a difference. And now the challenge of loving the game is at stake. Or you're just loving the paycheck, and you're trying to stay as healthy as you can so you can keep making that kind of money. And I think it's a battle for these young guys to really, like, fight through that, right? And still extend yourself physically, knowing maybe you can get a catastrophic injury and all of a sudden 150, 200 million is gone. Like, back in our day, it was like, okay, you know, 100,000 gone, 300, you know, it wasn't that dire in a sense. But now I get it. I understand why it's a tough thing for these young players. But what I would tell them is the love of the game should never take a backseat to anything else in the game.
Yeah.
It just shouldn't. The love of the game should be number one. Like, because they always say, well, I played the game for free. Well, you're not showing that to us. Back in the day, that was real. We would have played it for free. But now in today's game, you can't convince me that that's what you would do.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
you would, you would, because with social networking, you could be doing something and all you got to do is just build up your followers and you'll get paid. Right? We got people that's podcasters because they have a huge following, they get paid a ton of money. And it's not based on how talented they are. It's just based on they got a lot of followers for whatever reason. And now
Well,
that's what it's about,
hey,
you know?
listen, EJ. I mean, you can't hate the player, hate the game. I mean, that's just what it is. Like,
I know it is, but you're correct. But what I'm saying is, do you love it though? Like
mhm,
those people that's like they're getting that because they have followers. Do they really love it?
yeah.
And do they put everything into it?
Mm,
That's all I'm saying. So when you get so much, you still like, because I know people that have a lot of money and they're very unhappy. They're very unhappy in their life. They got cars. I mean, they got 10 cars, big giant house, and they're unhappy. And so it's like you get caught up in that. And
yeah.
and and for me, I know a lot of players in this league, man. Most athletes suffer depression. Most. Because why? Because of the expectations put upon you.
Mhm,
Like you're gonna get judged in everything that you do. And so it's hard for you to go hide. You can't hide like a normal millionaire. You can go hide behind some walls and nobody even know who you are. And but no, as an athlete, you're being judged all the time. As an entertainer, you're being judged. And a lot of depression comes with that.
yeah.
And so my thing is don't let the joy of what you've accomplished escape you. Like always hold on to that love. And I think a lot of times athletes lose that. And think about the other stuff. And so that's how I view it, man. I mean, it's not like I went through it at the low level that I was at in regards to compared to the salaries these guys make.
Yeah.
And I was in a good place financially, but it was a point of time that I wasn't a happy person for
Yeah.
whatever reason. And everybody sinks into that. And I think guys have to keep that love of the game, man, and don't disrespect it. Go out and play hard in the All-Star game. Just go out and play. Like, forget about this other stuff that's going on. I think that's part of what's gone on here over the last few years. The shoe contract is more important than actually your team. Like, you want to play in the All-Star game because your shoes are going to sell more. It
Mhm.
just, just play the game and everything else will fall into place.
Well, I think there's two things that go to that. One, maybe that should be the message to all the players is like, listen, this is the one time when there are no expectations on how you perform, and people are still going to have comments on Twitter, but like whether you win or lose, nobody's going to really remember that, right? So just go out there and ball, just go out there and have fun, like and play hard. The second thing is I do believe that the NBA should. And I know they've done this to a certain degree, but I think they need to get a little bit more involved in doing a grassroots effort to kind of do more to kind of take away the AAU vibe of what the NBA kind of has a feel of right now, right? I think they need to get a little bit more grassroots in the younger space, and especially the high school game, to bring that back to the high schools, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. Also, the other change that was kind of proposed, and Adam Silver actually brought this one up, and he brought this up on the Dan Patrick Show: 10-minute quarters. I didn't even have to bring this up to you because I knew how you're going to feel about this. I'm going to get this off before you go ahead and give your thoughts. It's a trash idea. It's absolutely a trash idea. Why are you going to eliminate more time to watch these players who only play half the season anyway? Why would you do that? I don't even understand that. I don't comprehend it. I don't even know why the hell he even said that out loud. 40 minutes? No. I'm not even here for it.
I agree with you. I don't agree with it. It does a lot of things. It also, I think they could lower the rosters if they did that. Think about it. most of your top players right now, they're going to play 30, they're playing 36, 37 minutes a game. So they just never come out now. Like, you don't even sub them. So now, why do you need 15 players on a team?
It would be pretty funny that, the college game, the women have changed from halves to quarters. Everybody started manipulating. Everything is going back to quarters. And then the NBA goes to halves, right? Could you imagine 2 20-minute halves for professional basketball players?
No.
What the hell are we doing here?
No. And if anything, it really I think it will mess the game up in a sense because, the 24-second shot clock, it's just not a lot of time. You'll be leaving up out of there very quickly. It's just, it's crazy. I don't know where that came from. I think he's just floating that idea. And, but I love Adam Silver because he's not intimidated to do anything, to say anything in that regard. But that's kind of different, man. That caught me by surprise. That if anything, I'm like, widen the court so they can stop stepping out of bounds on the freaking sideline by the 3. That kind of stuff. Bring back hand checking. Like, let the game be a little physical.
Yeah.
It's okay to have some confrontations. They're not gonna fight.
Yeah, that's what I miss. That's what I miss.
Yeah,
I'm okay with dudes talking trash. I'm okay with it, and I wish it would come back. I do want to address something in the chat. Super dope hip hop says Showtime Lakers more loaded than any team since besides maybe the 16-17 or 17-18 Warriors. 80 Celts super loaded, but he's mad at Braun, Wade, or Durant, Booker. Eye roll emoji. First of all, they're hip hop. Those teams, most of those teams were all drafted. Like, they all were homegrown. All right. Kareem got to the Lakers before Magic did, but Magic drafted by the Lakers. Byron Scott drafted by the Lakers. James Worthy drafted by the Lakers. Like, get out of here with that mess. Same thing with the Celtics. McHale, Bird, Parrish, all drafted by the Lakers. Come on.
It's just so funny. It's just so funny how
what are we doing here?
People say that stuff and they bring up the joining stuff and all of that. And they bring up, LeBron leaving. These people have no clue. You have no clue. And you just laid it out with the Lakers. Like, back-to-back years, they had the number 1 pick. And then they had Kareem. So why would Magic ever leave? Like, seriously, why would he leave? Why would he be upset and leave? He won a title his first year. Why would he going to be a Laker for life? Like, why would you ever leave? Larry Bird. Larry Bird went to the Celtics, right? And it was a weird kind of draft because ordinarily he'd have been a number 1 pick, but there was something going on with how they drafted him a year before or something like that. Had his rights.
Yeah, then they held his rights and stuff.
Yeah, and all of that. And so now all of a sudden you're able to go get Kevin McHale, you're able to go get Parrish, you pick up Dennis Johnson in a trade. Why would Bird ever leave? Like, why would he even think about it? He's set. Like, they built their team and they had success, right? Okay, how many teams out there built their team from scratch and it survived and they won multiple titles? Just think about that. Like Golden State, you can pick Golden State. But other than that, most teams have had to be very creative. They've gone through the roller coaster of life, and it's just very difficult. So you have to be aggressive and try stuff and do stuff and to see if you can catch up. And 6 different championship teams over the last 6 years. What'd that tell you? The dynasty stuff is just not going to happen anymore. Unless, at one point in time, I would have to believe if Sam Presti had found a way to keep James Harden, Russell Westbrook, and KD together, that could have turned out to be one.
Yeah.
But for some reason, all 3 of those guys turned out to be MVPs by themselves on different teams. He could not find a way to keep them guys together.
Yeah.
And he's redone it. He's redone it again with this OKC team again. But I'm just wondering, is he going to be able to keep all those guys together?
Yeah. I think he probably learned his lesson a little bit, because he let Harden go first, and that was the one right after the finals that hurt, but you didn't realize how much it was going to hurt. He was a tremendous player already, but nobody knew that he was going to be
a tremendous 6th man, and he was a 6th man.
I know, but again, I think they were thinking, KD and Westbrook would be the future, and that was the way they wanted to go. And
it wasn't they, it was him.
He
It was him. He thought he can do it again. And yes, he's done it again. He's got a ton of first round picks. But I'm not as good as OKC is. I don't think they can win a championship.
Oh, okay.
I don't.
All right.
Not right now. Maybe in the future, I think, because he's got some draft picks to add to it.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know.
What do you think the one thing that they're missing is?
Physicality. I think physicality. I mean, Hardenstein's physical, but and Lou Dort, that's pretty much it. Everybody else pretty much finesse. Mm-hmm. They're tough. Don't get me wrong. Some tough little dudes, man. But it's no disrespect that I say this. I mean, they're a tremendous basketball team, and they love each other. They play. That's how you want a basketball team to be. This is just my judgment on can they win a champ? Can they win a 7-game series? Like, to me, can they? Because what they don't have, Denver has. They got big dudes. And Denver's not playing great, but a 7-game series is a different animal. Mm-hmm. They learned their lesson last year against Dallas. Dallas is big and physical, right? Mm-hmm. You can throw the Lakers in there. If AD is playing like he's been playing, who's going to match up with him? Yeah. Like, in a 7-game series. Like, I'm not saying that they can't beat the Lakers. What I'm saying is it's going to be a long series. Yeah. So they're going to be tested, right? If we, the Suns, don't turn the ball over, and I know rebounding wise won't be a problem with them, we would stretch them. Like, there's a lot of teams in the West that would stretch them, and they're right now the best team in the West. In the East, we've seen the struggles of Boston, but I think Boston is still the best team. But Cleveland is a big team. The Knicks are one of the toughest teams in the league. So I don't know if Oklahoma City can win a title with what they have. Yeah. I think they can be very successful, but I don't think so. I think a lot of teams just pretty much, put them in a tough position with physicality. Yeah. So that's just the way I view it with them.
I think the Suns have a sleeper pick that OKC should just go all in on, and I'll give you that pick right after this. When I tell you the name of this guy, you're probably going to think that, man, he must be on something. You can be on something if you just go to Colt Cannabis, and they've teamed up with our friends over at True Leaf. And every day but Thursday, you can hook yourself up. I'll tell you more about that here in a second. But our friends at Colt Cannabis are now available at your local True Leaf with a huge variety of premium flower and a True Leaf exclusive called Magic Marker. The Valley has been asking for her, and now she's back. Visit trueleaf.com to find the local shop near you, or place an order and tell them PHNX sent you. It's great flower. It's hard to find these days. It's premium. A lot of people that are into the flower have praised Colt Cannabis for having just such an elite product, and you can, obviously take advantage of that yourself. And so get over to trueleaf.com to find your local shop or place an order. And once again, tell them that PHNX sent you. And new True Leaf location just opened up in Maricopa, for you Maricopa people out there, and it opened up on January 11th. So check it out. Also, when you're on your way home from True Leaf, or after having your Colt Cannabis, you can also just stop by the greatest convenience store the world has ever seen, Circle K. Circle K is one of, obviously, it's America's thirst stop. You can join the Inner Circle. It's a free membership program. It's so easy. All you have to do is enter your email and your phone number to be fully enrolled. After that, all you need is your phone number to get the deals. You're going to save 25 cents off per gallon your first 5 fill-ups. You're going to save 3 cents per gallon every single day. Once you use that a couple times, then it's going to boost up to 5 cents off per gallon every single day. And then there's plenty of other member exclusive deals and discounts. All you got to do is know that your favorite snacks, your favorite drinks, the favorite deals, you get 5 free drinks just for signing up you're going to hook yourself up all the time. They show you, they share with you all the marketing stuff that they have on sale. So enjoy your member exclusive beverage deal. Inner Circle members like you can get any size Polar Pop and Frosted for just 79 cents. Once again, join the Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for details. All right, EJ, before we wrap this up, it's trade deadline week, obviously, is next week. And the Suns have obviously been in the rumor mill for Jimmy Butler and hell, even Zach LaVine and other casts of characters, if you will. I was talking about, who should OKC trade. Listen, we got the Bosnian Beast who, allegedly can shut down Jokic. And if you're going to face him in the playoffs, why not just go all in and trade for Nurkic? I'm sure the Suns wouldn't mind some assets in return. So I say that in jest, obviously. But the Suns, as they sit here right now, EJ, I think you would agree they need to do something if they want to be competitive for a championship this year. They need to do something. I'm not so sure it's Jimmy Butler. I know how everybody else, or a lot of other people feel like, yeah, he would make a significant difference and they would be an immediate contender right away. I just don't believe it. I just don't. But that's me. I think they need to make a move, though. They need to shore up. They need to shore up their assets. They need to shore up this rotation. They need to be a little bit more consistent. They need to be a little bit more aggressive. They need somebody that's a dog. So in that regard, Jimmy Butler would fit the mold, but I don't know if he's necessarily the piece that's missing. What are the Suns missing that you feel like they absolutely need here within the next week if they have any hope of maneuvering towards a championship?
Well, I've talked about this time and time again. Where the Suns get themselves in trouble. And just calling games and just seeing it. Like the other night against Minnesota. We lost that game because we started to turn it over. Cut down on turnovers, man. And we got to rebound the ball. Like, it seems so simple, right?
It does. It really does.
But it's just those two areas because we're going to outshoot most teams. Like, any given night, we're going to outshoot them. Mm-hmm. So it's not the scoring. It's not the scoring. It's field goal attempts. What allows a team to get close to you with field goal attempts to give them a chance to win is you turn it over, and that's what the Suns did the other night, and not rebounding the ball. When they take care of that, we've seen over the last period now, 10 games, that they're going to win if they shore up those areas. All right. So what do they need? They need somebody that loves to rebound. That's it. They need a physical presence. They need a physical presence on that front line, in my estimation. Just somebody that can do dirt work, be a bodyguard out there, just be an aggressive guy that can just go get possessions. Like, be a problem in the paint to allow Devin, to allow KD, to allow Brad, to allow them to get out on the run. So that doesn't take a huge amount of assets to give up to get a guy like that. So for me, that's what they need to shore up, man, more than anything.
Do you have a player in mind or a type? I know you just said the type, but like, is there a type of player?
Power forward type. Just a guy that likes, knows that he's got to go rebound, be a physical presence. And look, if the trade deadline gets past us, you're going to have the buyout market. So it's not over. Like, it's not over. It'll be some guys that's going to get bought out, and you can be able to go get them. And so that's what I think, man. Like, we can wholesale, we can go make a huge deal. And if we can do that, fine. If that guy comes in and he's really good, then okay. But I'm just saying, if they can't make the big splash, right, then just get a body. Like, get somebody, man, you put out there. I mean, look, he can halfway finish around the rim or whatever, but he can go get rebounds. Like, that's it. You're not a liability when that happens. You truly aren't. Like, it's just, man, don't allow the opposition to get more field goal attempts. Because the Suns, over a period of time, they were shooting close to 50% against teams and losing.
Mm-hmm.
That shouldn't happen.
Yeah.
But the reason it was happening is because that team was getting 14 more shots. That's the difference. And it's because of the turnovers. It's because of not just making the extra dribble to get the better angle to pass the ball. It's like, again, coaches always say, and people get it misconstrued. They'll say, like, effort, right? And everybody thinks effort means running harder, diving on the floor. No, effort also means smart decision making. Just take the effort. Like, if you know it's a bad angle to pass it, take the effort to put yourself in a better position to pass it. Like rebounding, like the effort, right? You can
Mm-hmm.
turn and go jump high and try to get it, or put effort in to turn it around, hitting him so he can't run up your back to try to make it difficult for you to get the rebound, box out. And a lot of times you might not get the rebound, but guess what? You stopped your man from getting it.
Yeah.
Like, that's effort. Like, and so for me, not being a great athlete, that's how I had to think. Like, I had to think that way.
That's such a key
Like,
point.
yes, for me, like, I was normally on every team I was on, a low post, because we always play inside out. I was the one throwing the ball into the post.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't because I was a shooter and they knew that that guy wouldn't just help out on me, but also I was an excellent passer into the post. Excellent. Never turned it over because I would make sure, uh, uh, like I would do everything that I was supposed to fundamentally to get the ball into him and get it where he needed it. And to be able, footwork wise, to go score. Like, it's those types of things, man, that I think we get away from. And when I call games, it kind of frustrates me a little bit in seeing it. And that's the part, man. A lot of teams get called. These young people, man, they don't know how to throw it into the post. Players of today, they don't. And when you take the ball out of bounds, they don't understand the 5 second clock in their head. And okay, you can't throw it into the guy you're supposed to throw it into. Just get it in, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just get it in. How many times have we thrown the ball away, taking the ball out of bounds?
Too many times.
Yeah. It's that kind of stuff, man.
Yeah.
That's a possession. So that's an extra shot for them. Every time you turn it over, extra shot. Every time you get an offensive rebound, extra shot. And then you look up at halftime, you shooting 50. One time we were shooting 60% and was losing at halftime.
Wild.
Because the other team had about 12 more shots. And they were shooting 44%. It
That's
doesn't
just wild.
matter. It doesn't matter. If you're giving them way more shots, it doesn't matter what they're shooting.
Yeah.
And it's that part, man, that lately we have been really good at rebounding, not turning it over, and we've been winning. Been winning. Simple science, man. It truly is, man. I want us to get to that point. I do.
You know, I know a lot of people thought Tyus Jones was going to come in and solve a lot of those problems, especially in the fourth quarter. I don't know if that experiment really has worked out very much. I think it's been kind of a wash. They haven't significantly improved. I would actually probably say that they've kind of regressed as the season has gone on in terms of turnovers. In this recent stretch, they've played better basketball, but they also didn't play great teams.
Yeah.
And then they faced a decent team in Minnesota, and it didn't work out in the fourth quarter. And so are those habits going to rear their ugly head, or those trends going to rear their ugly head in the fourth quarters when we start to play these better teams, which in the second half of the season, they have one of the toughest schedules in the NBA. And so they're going to get tested. And if they don't shore up these things quickly, they're going to find themselves on the outside looking in, because as well as they have played and they've won in the last couple weeks, that could easily go the other way when you're playing the better teams in the league. And that's an issue. I don't know who else is out there potentially that they could go after. I know a lot of people are in the chat talking about, man, it would be great to get somebody like Sabonis. A lot of people are starting to be reserved with the idea that Bradley Beal's not going to get moved and that Jimmy Butler might not be a Phoenix Sun. And they should, because I think the only possible moves you can make are going to be fringe moves. You might be able to get rid of Nurkic, but you're not going to get something of high value in return. You're
Well,
going to get
no,
somebody that's going
but
to be. You're going to
high
get somebody that's
value
going to.
though. You say
But real quick. But if you get rid of Nurkic, you're probably going to take on somebody that's also got the same kind of vibes from another team because it just hasn't worked. And you're taking a risk in that regard, is what I would think the move would be.
or it's a team that probably from a salary standpoint, they know they can maybe move them and manipulate the salary to. They know they're not going to win, and they know they're going to reshuffle their team, and so you can fall into that as well. I
Sure.
think, like I said, it goes back to what the Suns need. Maybe that team does not need an extra rebounder.
Yeah.
So it all depends on what they need. And
I feel
also,
like
I
you,
like
I
to
feel like
address
I
the
feel like I feel like you know something, EJ.
I like to address the Tyus situation though.
Oh yeah.
I won't put this on Tyus. Like, no, I put the pressure on KD, Devin, and Brad. Like I said this time and time again, you gotta look. He's not Chris Paul, okay? Meaning that he's not polarizing and dominant enough to say, "Give me the ball and get to your spots." He's not. He's still a young player.
Mm-hmm.
And so if they're running out there and they're taking the ball, if they're dribbling the ball up and they're taking over point guard responsibilities late in the game and they're running two-man games, that's not on Tyus.
No, I'm just saying that the
So
experiment hasn't worked out
yeah, well, I think it can
for a
work
variety of
out if
reasons.
they allow. If it can work out if those guys entrust in him, that give him the ball, get him into the sets, and get it initiated, and then go right.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times they'll bring it up still, and they'll get trapped right away. Like I saw the other night, I saw the Suns were targeting Mike Conley. Okay, and so Devin called up a screen, and he got Mike Conley on him. And then somebody else ran up there and set another screen, and all of a sudden, Edwards was on him. And I'm like, what is wrong with that? Like, are you serious? Like, you got Mike Conley. Take him now. Why is another guy coming up to set another freaking screen? I don't think it was Edwards. I think they brought up to put Rudy on him. Like, no, Conley. Like, it's that kind of stuff, man, that I think we have to really get better at. And like I said, I can dissect the game more intently than what I do. A lot of stuff I let go. But we are not that far away.
Yeah.
And that's what the frustrating part is. And I want Suns fans to know we're not. I am telling you, we are not. This is a 50-win team. Plus. I am telling you it is. The way it is right now, it's a 50-win team. But it's just things that I think we get caught up in doing that is just it's just off center. Like throwing it into the post. How many times we throwing the ball into KD and it gets picked off?
Yeah.
Like it's just stuff like that. And it's more so both on both sides.
Yeah.
Like guys high-siding KD. And we're throwing the ball from the angle of the guy guarding him. And we're throwing it way up in the air over the top. Yeah. What is wrong with taking 3 hard dribbles over?
Effort.
And throwing it in. And now the guy's on his high side. Now KD catches it. And he's just got a drop step right to the rim. Like, it's just that kind of stuff, man, that, people can dissect me in a lot of different ways, right? The one thing they always bring up, defense and all that, right? Whatever.
Real quick, for those of you streaming on our television providers, we appreciate you. We're going to continue this show over at gophnx.com. Everybody else, just sit tight. Go ahead.
Yeah.
DJ.
So my point is, like, I understand the fundamentals of posting up. People don't realize because they need to watch film. I was a very good post-up player, and teams would let me post up. They'd run stuff for me to post up. And you got to understand how to do it. And then from a passer, like I said, I was normally the one throwing it in. Like every team I played on, I was the guy throwing the ball in. And because I understood of how to get the better angle to throw it in. Guys just don't want to take those extra dribbles, man. Those are the things that we don't do.
Yeah.
And I am telling you, man, if we do them, we're gonna win games because we won't turn it over. And that part, man, is just is and that's everybody, on the team. It's not just one person, it's everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody has been guilty this year on our team of lazy passes, attempting cross-court passes, which I am telling you, in my 17 NBA year career, I probably threw 40 cross-court passes. Like, like you don't throw those things like we do. We throw a lot of them, and 6 of them get picked off.
Yeah.
So it's those kind of things, man. If we can just cut down on, man, good things will happen for this team. I truly believe it. And yeah, we'll find. So we're gonna do something. So we'll pick up somebody during this trade deadline, and I just hope it really helps in the parts that we need to be helped on, and it's more so rebounding. That's
Well,
what I believe.
Well, maybe if a move happens, we'll get EJ's quick take on it. For outside shots, and I know the deadline's fast approaching. Next week we should have some finality to all this as we get ready for All-Star Week, the week after that, and so a lot of moves still to come. And hey, hopefully it'll improve the team and they can get back on track, because I know. Hey, time is constantly moving and is running out for this particular version of the Phoenix Suns. So thank you all for joining us on another episode of Outside Shots. Thank you to EJ for joining us from San Francisco. Good luck to the Suns as they take on the Warriors tonight. Make sure you listen to EJ's show today, NBA Today on NBA Radio, Sirius Satellite Radio today from 12 to 3 Arizona time.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So there you go.
No. Is it 12 to 3?
I don't know.
Got me
it's
all
your show.
Mixed up, man.
All right.
I'm in the Pacific time zone.
1 to 4 Arizona time,
1
12 to 3 if you're in the.
It's 2 to 5 Arizona time.
2 to 5. There you go. Anyway, make sure you subscribe to the Outside Shots podcast. It's its own feed. Go find it on your particular podcast platform. We really would appreciate it. Make sure you leave a 5-star review as well. And
this was water. This was not beer.
Once again, as always, we appreciate y'all for joining us. Hit that like button on your way out. We love y'all. Peace.
Later.